And this is often an area that is undermanaged or not managed at all. And just in the US alone, if we look at this as a countrywide, we're talking about $2.8 billion of wasted cost associated with electricity for the IT environment as a whole. So if we're not addressing the largest proportion of that, then we're not really covering green IT across all of the different bases. IT's role within climate change itself, there's lots of different figures, there's lots of different analysts out there, but we can look about 2%, the equivalent of the aviation industry's contribution to the carbon emissions come from IT, and 3/4 of that actually from the consumption, with the rest being from the manufacturer. If we look at absorbing the carbon that's involved in this, then actually it would take 10 years for a whole load of trees to be able to absorb the carbon emissions just from one PC being left on across the entire year. 1,000 of these PCs could be powering 44 homes for an entire year. So the larger the number of systems involved within here, whether we're talking about an individual business, division, government agency, we can see really how that begins to equate into numbers that really make sense. Look at it from an individual PC, it doesn't look too major. But look at it across a business, even a relatively small business, we can see how just the PCs themselves are making this type of contribution. Looking at it from a cost perspective then, we see year-on-year predictive growth for this as the cost of electricity begins to increase year on year. And therefore, the main reasons for looking at power management are multiple. I mean, IT power management is one of the true hard cost savings that an organization to go for. It's not a soft cost saving. It's not an efficiency in time or effort. It's a true efficiency in respect to the cost to the organization. You use less energy, you save money. And there is a wide range of potential savings within there, affected based off the efficiency of the devices that you have within your organization. And we'd hope that people that are attending the Green IT Expo will be looking to have green procurement plans to select energy efficient equipment, so that over time the wasted energy can be reduced. But what we want to be able to do especially is to reduce the wastage when systems aren't being used. The efficiency of devices reduces the energy consumption while they're being used. So this is an area that is what we term as low-hanging fruit, something that's out there to be taken and can be achieved relatively easily. And those of you that attended the Forrester keynote just previously will have noticed that one of the big priorities for organizations is to improve the perception of the organization as well. So these types of organization have the ideal three: the reduction of carbon, the reduction of cost, and the promotion and the improvement of the company image as well. So that's a brief about the PC power management justification. Verismic Software as an organization, we've been around for producing software for nearly 10 years now. We're specialists in systems management. And what we need in there is we want to be able to provide solutions that address the need, not as a tick box, but down into the deep of the need, but also the organizational, the business need. So precision engineering, as we term, and the experience we have within systems management shows in not just the technology that we produce, but the way in which that technology can be applied. Whether you're a single location organization, whether you're multiple locations across the nation, or international, multi-currency, multi-language, and the specific type of need that you have, whether it's for on-premise solutions, hosted, or cloud-based solutions. Some examples of the types of customers. I'm not going to go in detail on this, but an idea of the types of organizations that have invested in us to be able to support them in these types of initiatives. So what types of organizations or what types of people really need PC power management? Well, essentially, anybody that has PCs should be doing PC power management. Obviously, the more PCs that you have, the more impressive the potential savings, and more important this is to you as an organization. There are particular types of users or organizations that this particularly suits. Commercial organisations. We've seen a lot already within government organisations, but commercial organisations are being driven down this road from a number of different angles, whether it's purely for cost saving or whether it's legislative. So the requirement to reduce the carbon emissions as part of the carbon reduction commitment, or other incentives or disincentives that come through, tax burdens or increases, whether you're in the UK or other countries. Government, as we heard, public institutions tend to be leading the way within here because of internal directives within there. You'll have seen European Commission on the previous slide really leading the way in being able to reduce the emissions as part of the EMAS initiative. But also organisations that provide service, something that isn't often addressed within there. This is something that not just you as end customers need to do, it's something that you should be concentrating on doing, but who is going to do this for you? If you have an internal organisation providing your support and service, well and good. If you have an outsourced or managed service provider, what are they doing for you in this area? This is something that is a required aspect, it's a focused aspect of systems management. It's a really focused way of managing and reducing the cost of the impact of your PC estate. Is this something that your managed service provider is delivering to you today? If you're a managed service provider, is this an aspect of your offering that you have available to you, and do you have the ideal solution? Now, PC power management, although there's lots of good reasons for it, we've seen some are within there, for some reason not everybody is doing it today. And there's a number of reasons behind that. And from a priority perspective, we see a number of these. Top of them is financial. Even though this is something that can very rapidly return on investment, there are still barriers that need to be overcome, sometimes more than any other type of project. Because more often than not, we find people trying to understand who's going to pay for this type of project. Forrester, one of the questions we had there was IT acting as the hero or the barrier to this as well. IT, do they alone carry the burden for paying for green initiatives? Does your organisation assign the cost of the energy to the budget of the IT department? And if not, if they make savings, how do they get their return on investment? This is a good thing for the business as a whole, but not necessarily a good thing financially for IT. So this is something that needs to be understood. What budget does it come from? How does it get paid? How does it get returned? As well, if IT are objecting, who's going to run this? There is some work involved in this, so we need to understand as a project how this is going to be handled and look at it to make sure it's not a burden, it's still a benefit to the business as well. Will we need more staff? Will we need to allocate people? Who will own this on an ongoing basis? So some of the aspects to consider.